The story of Atlantis is one of the greatest mysteries ever told. No mystery has captivated more lore and legend than a civilization that in one night disappeared. Plato describes Atlantis as an island larger than Libya and Asia Minor put together, located in the Atlantic just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, generally assumed to be the Strait of Gibraltar. Its culture was advanced. It was protected by the god Poseidon, who made his son Atlas king and namesake of the island and the ocean that surrounded it. As the Atlanteans grew powerful, their ethics declined. Their armies eventually conquered Africa as far as Egypt and Europe as far as Tyrrhenia, before being driven back by the Athenian-led alliance. Later, by the way of divine punishment, the island was beset by earthquakes and floods and sank into the muddy sea. To understand why only one man wrote about Atlantis, let's first consider that Socrates, the great philosopher from Athens, who is credited as the founder of Western philosophy, is only known to us in the writings of Plato. Socrates never wrote anything down, and he died in 399 BC. Plato, considered the founder of Western political philosophy, wrote of the city of Atlantis that existed around 9600 BC. Before we examine the writings of Plato on Atlantis, let's take a look at where some believe Atlantis once stood, the Rekot structure in Africa. This area, nicknamed the Eye of Sahara, as it contains almost perfect circular concentric rings. The Rekot structure lies in Mauritania. The area consists of large flat plains stretching 244 miles down to the Atlantic Ocean. The area is surrounded by mud plains and has large quarries of black, red, and white stones. Now, of course, Plato wrote of Atlantis falling 11,600 years ago. At the time, the area was completely different. Scientists now know that there was a wet, humid area during that time. Core samples taken off the coast of Mauritania show that during this time, it was a much wetter climate. Supporting these findings, ancient cave drawings depicting animals that no longer live in the area. Cave drawings commonly depict everyday life and what people of the time see. These drawings showed crocodiles and hippopotamus that support that the area had large waterways and animals that live in a much wetter climate. The story of Atlantis contains detailed accounts of the size and composition of the city, from the stones quarried from the center island to the fabled metal ore of the Atlanteans. Although his story is believed by most historians to be allegory of the hubris of nations, the similarities are pretty interesting. If Atlantis was washed out to sea, where is the evidence? Some claim that there are ruins of structures which can be seen from Google Earth. Without further exploration, we cannot really know for sure. What about the orichalcum? Orichalcum is a refined metal alloy that was described in Greek history. There is even a map created from the stories of Herodotus, from his histories, circa 484 BCE. Herodotus' references were not to an island, but Mount Atlas, which he located at the westernmost part of Africa, a place believed to be the western edge of the world. Mount Atlas, he claimed, a peak so high that its top's never seen, which was inhabited by the Atlantes, a race who eat no living creature and see no dreams in their sleep. Herodotus was notoriously unreliable as a reporter. According to the Critias of Plato, the three outer rings of the temple to Poseidon and Cleto on Atlantis were clad respectively with brass, tin, and the third outer wall which encompass the whole citadel, flash with the red light of orichalcum. The interior walls, pillars, and floors of the temple were completely covered in orichalcum, and the floor was variegated with gold, silver, and orichalcum. In the center of the temple stood pillars of orichalcum, on which the laws of Poseidon and records of the first sun prince of Poseidon were inscribed. Gleaming cast metal called orichalcum, which was said by the ancient Greeks to be found in Atlantis, has been recovered from a shipwreck that sank 2,600 years ago off the coast of Sicily. Why is there no evidence of these ores in Mauritania? Well, there is. Here is an announcement from a company that has found an abundance of precious metals, including the metals that compose the fabled orichalcum. According to the announcement from the Australian mining company Ore Corp Limited, trenching generates significant nickel, copper, cobalt, and diamond. So although there is no archaeological studies being done currently of the area, there are currently mines finding these precious metals in the area. Finally, the stones that were described by Plato, the stones which was used in the work, they quarried from underneath the center island and from underneath the zones, on the outer as well as the inner side. One kind of stone was white, another black, and a third red. Some of their buildings simple, but in others they put together different stones, which they intermingled for the sake of ornament, to be a natural source of delight. As you look around the site of Rekot structure, we see white, black, and red stones everywhere. We look around the local area, and we see examples of buildings made out of stones of these three colors, and some where one color stone was used as a source of natural delight. Some even believe the people of Atlantis lived on. As a seafaring nation, they would have inspired technological advancements throughout the globe. Some have even related the similarities of advancements in very distant lands as not just a coincidence, but evidence that the Atlanteans lived on. As many conquering countries have done everything they can to erase the histories of their conquered nations, libraries burned and sacred sites destroyed, we may never know the truth, even if it is just a story to show how nations' prides can be their downfall. I think in these times it is more important than ever to heed the lesson. We have a civilization with an economy designed for never-ending growth. We have an economy that needs to grow, whether or not we as a society thrive. Compound interest is built into our economy's institutions. We need a global shift in how we think of success. We need to be able to thrive as a society, whether or not the economy is growing at the rate of inflation. History is full of stories of hubris, of great civilizations falling. Is a society considered great if many die of hunger, while few live with more than they could ever need? Does an advanced society mean one that has advanced technologies, or one where everyone thrives and no one goes hungry?